show on the road, shall we? And crack on because we've got frustration to talk about. Uh, well, firstly, I mean, 2-2 draw at Harrogate. Thankfully, other teams around us dropped points as well in what looked like easy to win home games, but we had that one. We were dominant in the first half, got a good lead, nice finish by Cannon, edge of the area, scored the second. Um, And at that point, when Elliot Lee put it in after a bit of a scramble and an epic acrobatic Romanian butterfly style assist from Paul Mullin, we looked great. But they pulled a goal back just before half time, avoidable goal. Arthur Okonkwo had taken a whack to the face. He had to go out for half time. Just before the break, George Evans hit the post with an epic shot that, had it gone in, probably would have won it. And then we let a goal in just within the second minute of the restart. Not Mark Howard's fault, but another avoidable goal, really, what we conceded. And it was all very frustrating. We didn't get a grip in the second half till late on. Dolby forced a good save, but there wasn't that much else. Cornelius, for them, should have got a sent off for a very late stamp on Tom O'Connor. But bottom line, that really, really feels like 2 points lost. Would you agree?
Yeah, 200%. It actually feels like a little bit like a loss because we go 2-0 up. For me, I think it's silly of being a football fan, especially a Wrexham fan for so long. I actually thought, oh yeah, we definitely won this, but all credit to Harrogate. That goal just before half time was really key, and fair play to them. They had a game plan. I think that's the difference between the National League and League Two. You've got to put League Two teams away, haven't you, Bill?
Yeah, you'd think at 2-0 before the end of half time, we were going to put them away. We looked like we were going to score 3 or 4 at one point, but not much. I'm just very disappointed. It's hard to sort of to really put into words what disappointed me about that game. I don't think we played overly bad, really, but just two silly goals to concede, and that's it. You lose the points, don't you?
Yeah. Cryptic saying a bit of a disappointing end, 2 points dropped. Certainly, although Gavin Hopwood says I'm more worried about poor Arthur than 2 points lost, to be honest. Yeah, let's hope he's all right. I mean, he took a whack to the jaw, it would seem, didn't he?
Well, let's hope there's no fracture or broken jaw there because we'll be in big trouble then. But I'm confident with Mark Howard. I felt a bit sorry for him coming on because second choice keepers don't want to come on at all. I've heard him talk on his own podcast that if you're on the bench as a goalkeeper, you definitely don't want to be going on. And the Harrogate had a chance in the opening minutes of him coming on, and they scored from it. Not his fault either. And I felt pretty sorry for Mark Howard. I feel sorry for Arthur Okonkwo. Let's hope it's not as bad as it seems.
I mean, he would have got a bit of a rest anyway, I suspect, with 2 cup games coming up. And I think the fact that we've arranged a Burton game for the Tuesday when we were playing on a Sunday says everything about what sort of team we're going to pick on the Tuesday. But having said that, I mean, yeah, let's just hope it's just a knock and it's just precautionary because, like you say, anything broken is going to be a real concern, isn't it? C, that's a great name you chose for yourself there. Yet another poor away performance, not good enough for a team that wants automatic promotion. I mean, right. Firstly, yeah, really disappointing performance, really disappointing result, certainly in the second half. But the thing is, the other teams have dropped points with 3 promotion places and another in the playoffs. At least, I suppose, the necessity we've seen in the National League to keep winning and winning and winning isn't quite as strong. But it'd be nice if we didn't have these away games where we just seem to somehow lack something.
I mean, I think for me, it was the fact that you've got 2 full-backs, one who's playing out of position, who've been on international duty and expected to play 2 games in 3-4 days. That second half, they both look tired. We can't play the way that we did in the first half because they can't push up as high due to, if you've got that fatigue and you're in a position like a wing back, you've got to choose to either be a bit more defensive or a bit more attacking. And, we've obviously chosen to defend a bit more. I think it's the kind of result that we'll look back at the end of the season, and it will either, how we finish the season will determine how we look at that result. It'll either be a resilient draw or a disappointing loss of points.
No, we're going to be looking at as the disappointing loss of points because, 2 up against a side like Harrogate. No disrespect, they're just a lower mid-table side, really. You've got to be putting them away. If we look back at the Accrington game, let's not help the players too much for that because Accrington are going to be there or thereabouts playoffs, and we aren't going to win every home and away game this season. It's just a little bit disappointing coming from the high of the Morecambe game, to go 2-0 up against a side like forgot their Harrogate. But yeah, I think a lot of credit has to be given to Harrogate today. In all fairness, just showing a lot of resilience. They go 2 down, they get 1 before half time. They scored just before just after the second half mark. It's a lot of it just shows the quality in League Two this season is quite high.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly no mugs, Harrogate. I mean, look at their away records. Fabulous, isn't it? The home record's very poor, mine. So and in the first half, I thought they were playing up to that stereotype. In the first half, I thought they looked quite poor and we looked very good. In fact, to be honest, I was sort of thinking when Okonkwo got treated the second time, I was honestly thinking, get him off because we'd have to do something pretty crazy not to win this by 3 or 4 points. Goals, rather. But yeah, it turned round and yeah, resilience is probably the word. I didn't feel massively impressed by Harrogate in terms of quality. I thought the goals we let in were a bit soft. But having said that, like you say, they're resilient and they were the better side in the second half. We had a strong finish, but they were the better side in the second half. I mean, I'm just seeing a comment here. Well, 2 comments, actually. It was... Hang on a second. Ash T said, Lee had a terrible game and so did McLean. Cryptic responded with a comment that I would go along with. Lee and McLean started well, but both faded. Maybe linking partly into Bill's comments about, sort of McLean and Mendy being away and then coming back and playing 2 games in close succession. But also that I think with players like Lee and McLean not having control of the game is also indicative of how the game went. We didn't look after the ball well in the second half. Harrogate were able to get to the second balls consistently first until we made the changes that just gave us a bit of impetus at the end. But yeah, I think Lee losing control of the game, and I thought he was excellent in the first half, was an important indicator that we'd lost control of the game.
Yeah, I think as well, like in a perfect world, if Ford and Barnett are both injury free, you start Saturday with one of McLean or Mendy, and then you start tonight with one of McLean or Mendy, the opposite of who started, and then you've got you've got Ford or Barnett to come off the bench then as well, haven't you? But obviously, you dealt the hands you're given. You can't really do much about that at this point in the season, but. Yeah, frustrating. It goes to show without Elliot Lee at his best, we don't look the same side, do we really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I've got to say, I like the positivity on the comments. It's changed from a few years ago when everyone had been quite angry. We've got, where was it? Paul, sorry, my eyesight's fading. Paul Broders saying they aren't machines, to be fair. Yeah, absolutely correct. Yeah, absolutely fair comment. Oh gosh, I need my glasses. Kero Ali says, I feel that if this was a few years ago, we'd have conceded 1 goal and then ended up 4 down by the end. So I'm keeping a little positivity with the draw. And yeah, I do think a draw's by no means a disaster. Like I said, Mansfield and Stockport, both had much easier home games against teams that are not necessarily as good as Harrogate and failed to win them. We should be feeling happier than them. It's just that having been in such control, it felt frustrating, didn't it, really? Maybe I'll just wrap up a few of the Arthur Okonkwo questions. Gretchen Wood says, any word on Okonkwo's condition? No, we won't know anything until Phil Parkinson comes out, and even then, probably all you'll be able to say is it's too early to tell. As Bill said earlier, if it's a whack to the jaw, then and no damage is done, no break or fracture, you'll probably be all right in a few days. If it is a fracture, then we have to see how bad it is. But I don't think they'll be able to assess it so quickly. I wouldn't have thought. Cryptic asks, "What will our?" Sorry.
There could be concussion as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Although, and I did wonder about that at the start, thinking he's been treated twice. Is he okay? But well, if it is concussion, 10 days off means he'll miss 2 cup ties he probably would have been rested from anyway, from a selfish point of view. Cryptic says, "What will Arsenal do if we broke Arthur?" Well, if it's true that they're not going to give him a contract in the summer, absolutely nothing, to be honest. And also on Arthur, was another thing. There was Daisy. Oh man, I tell you what, my eyesight's terrible. Daisy Isla said, "What happened to Arthur?" Well, basically, he was the victim of his own excellence, wasn't he? I didn't even see him coming. A really good ball played into the box. O'Connor and March, the Harrogate striker, were going for it. It was outside the 6-yard box, and then he appeared from nowhere and took it really well. It was a brilliant piece of goalkeeping, but he got whacked in the face in the process, and by March, accidentally. And yeah, he clearly had a jaw injury, was treated twice, and then went off at half-time. So let's hope that, it's innocuous.
It's the hazard of the job, though, isn't it, of being a goalkeeper sometimes?
Yeah. I used to love getting kicked in the head when I was a goalkeeper. It was great fun. Dive in the middle of them all. Let them have a few hacks at your head. It's all right. Never did me any harm.
Explains a lot, Mark,
Good. Sorry. Justin S. Barrett, greetings from Las Vegas. Hey, what's said in Vegas stays in Vegas, so I shouldn't have been able to read that. And also, what was it? We had James Warburton. I'm not sure why you're feeling testicular coldness over the 2 points dropped. I suppose you must have been in the away end. Fair enough. As it's the Wrexham way. Well, yeah, we've had much worse moments than this, haven't we? We did chuck it away, but hey, that's showbiz. Let's see what else we got. Oh, Justin.
We'd have scored 1 and conceded 4 previously.
Yeah.
No, the result would have been exactly the same, but both those goals would have come in the 85th and the 90th minute, wouldn't they, previously?
Yeah.
So we'd have been 2-0 up until those last couple of minutes and conceded.
Yeah, that's true. Kicksey says, "Damn, if Evans didn't hit that damn bar." I mean, it's a hell of a hit. If we'd not if we hadn't let that goal in before half-time, or if Evans' shot had gone in off the post, then we win that game, I would argue. Those were
goal before half time was the key goal in the game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just seemed to lift them.
Yeah, I think I know people often say it's the best time to score. The stats don't back that up normally, but having said that, I think it just changed it from a walk in the park to a competitive game, didn't it? I think if we'd come out in the second half, 10 minutes of us moving the ball around, and I think the game would be over. And as somebody said earlier, we could have scored 4 in the first half. And we shouldn't forget, Morris Jones could have scored 4 in the first half. We shouldn't forget, in the first half, it was a lot of good stuff played, I thought.
Yeah, I thought we were excellent first half. We completely controlled the game. Harrogate didn't really create too much chances. We probably should have scored a few more. But that's just football, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Harrogate got the better of the second half. Really, hit the side netting. I thought it was a goal on the stream as well. To be fair, I think most people watching it did. It's just one of these games. It is really frustrating to go 2-0 up. But at the grand scheme of things, I think a draw is probably a fair result.
Yeah, that's true enough. About that Otto shot that looked like it might have gone in. There's something about that bottom corner, isn't there? Because hands up if you think Andy Cannon shot. If you thought Andy Cannon's shot had gone wide, I did. It's just me. Oh damn! Okay, fair enough. But oh, look, Terry thinks it, doesn't he? Terry agrees with me. Good lad. And by the way, Bill, your feline action was also noticed by Justin S. Barrett. But Laszlo is not here. But if I can just turn the camera a little bit, Pixie is sitting on a box of beer. What a good girl she is. She takes after her dad. Although she is definitely underage. Hi, Terry. Oh, look at that guy. Oh, his identity has been, his face been blurred, so his identity isn't leaked. Because we all know Terry is a famous tax evader. Bless him. The cat's not the footballer. I hasten to add. No, well. You're speaking as an individual there, Bill. I can assure you.
Yes, certainly am. I love how Chay moved the camera then to see, so that we can see Terry, but Terry is the exact same colour as his hoodie.
Yes.
So we still can't see it even. Could just about see the collar.
He's undercover. Motels on Mars. Hi, says Stockport, Mansfield and Crewe all drew today. It's tight at the top of the table, which is another reason why we should feel positive about this, or at least feel okay about it. Now, Chris Wilmus has got a great question here. Would you have liked to have seen the 4-3-3 for the last 15 minutes? Discuss.
No, they were attacking too much. I think we had to defend the point, and I know that's really cynical. A lot of people don't like that, but the tide had turned at half time, so you win. You're more likely to win league title by keeping the odd point than going straight to the wall to try and win a game. At this stage in the season, if this had been in April and we're looking to secure points, then you throw the kitchen sink at it. But like Cryptic had said earlier on, the guys aren't machines. We don't need them running and getting themselves injured just to scrape an extra 2 points in November. For me personally,
it's 3 points drop because we went 2-0 up, but at the end of the day, a point away from home at this time of the season, the other teams around us haven't been performing very well either. It's not the end of the world, and I think these 2 cup ties have come at a good time as well, just to shake things up and get other players for minutes if we have injuries.
Yeah, absolutely right. We can reset the squad a little bit, can't we? Hopefully. I have to say that. Sorry. Sorry. I've announced the question. I totally agree with you, Bill. You're right. I was wondering all the way through the second half: are we going to switch it? Are we going to bring the centre back off? But I think they were getting at us, and there was a genuine danger that if we did that and took a chance, we could easily let in a goal. It felt a bit like a game where we'd let in another goal. For me, I don't know. Although whether that links into Cryptic's question, how was your first fan experience in a while? Yeah. It's sitting in the front room watching the game, I think I get a bit more twitchy than when I'm commentating because I've got a job to do. And to be perfectly frank, I think that's it. I think that's been reflected in how this whole broadcast has gone. Usually, I'm sure you'll back me up on this, our hot take experience, live ones, used to be us trying to keep people positive as they complained, and it feels a little bit here like everyone's trying to cheer me up, cheer us up. So I think maybe I do feel it a bit more if it's disappointing if I'm not commentating when I'm trying to do a job. So yeah, Cryptic, I'm glad I'll be back on Sunday. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, if anyone else wants to laugh, look at the old hot takes of that Dean Keith season. It was just me and Mark trying to be as positive as we possibly can if we've lost to someone.
Yeah.
And trying to stop people from being so dramatic as well. It was very different times, wasn't it?
It was. I don't
If
think...
you think these guys got enough stick over the pie situation, go back and read the comments on some of those hot take videos, because there were some people that weren't enjoying the football, let's put it that way, at that point, and you were like the bearers of bad news, weren't you, back then?
I must say though, I mean, Bill, you're such a Cassandra. You're always looking for you look for the bad stuff there. My recollection of doing those live ones was that people would feel bad, and then Che and I would sort of talk them off the ledge a bit. I was always really impressed by how people wanted to make comments but wanted to listen as well, and often would say, "Oh, actually, yeah, you've got a point." I've never gone into it with the intention of being positive, But I think I just think about how things go right or wrong more than getting angry, possibly. But that's just because I'm a cold fish.
But I just remember sometimes though, Mark, when we had some really bad losses, and we were like, should we go live? We were like, nah, let's just go straight home.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There were sometimes we just thought, nobody's going to want to see this. Let's just, let's walk away. Absolutely. There are more people cheering us up. Kim sums it up nicely. Could have been worse. Should have been better. I think a pretty much perfect 6-word summation of that match. Time Lords 910 says I follow for League Two. How can us silly Americans watch the cup games? Well, so far games have been covered by British TV and then often ESPN pick it up as well. I don't know what's happening with the Oval, but I'm suspecting something like that will be in place. I mean, the owners are very keen for that to happen. I think I'm right, aren't I? It's only the FA Cup that is affected, not the other cup competitions. So the Bristol Street Motors Trophy game will be on iFollow. It's just
as far as I'm aware, I have seen, and I could be wrong, but I have seen American fans posting that it's scheduled for ESPN Plus.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
And I'm actually seeing our Lost Show fan is actually saying that. And Time Lords.
How that affects other international areas, I don't know, but we do seem to get the US updates more than the others, don't we? So don't be offended if you're Australian or Canadian or Japanese or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Those magical letters V, P, and N come to mind as well. The Time Lord saying even the Papa John's Cup. Yes, it's not the Papa John's Cup now either. Not that I knew. I called it all the way through the Newcastle and Crew games, the Papa John's Trophy, and it hasn't been that this season, and I didn't even realise. So, oops. Sean Rogers, I missed. Have we been promoted yet? Not quite, but it's only a matter of time. Leave till Christmas and we'll be able to tell you definitively. Cannon or Jones, says Chris Wilmerson, you're 11. Such a close call. That's a cracking question.
There's a lovely big running out of time icon.
Yeah, but we've got... Don't worry. We've got... Oh, hang on a second. You've got 8 minutes, is it? Yeah, we'll be fine. Don't worry.
I'll say depends on the game. Yeah. I think them two are interchangeable tactically, and it's like trying to pick out your children. There's no favourites.
The Sophie's choice of football, Cannon or Jones.
James, I really like James Jones. He is the Wrexham engine. He just doesn't stop.
I love James Jones. I absolutely love him. And I think he's unlucky to have missed out on the last couple of starts. But Cannon has played very well. I think Cannon, when he's playing well, brings that sharpness of passing, which is really high level. I think Jones is a decent passer of the ball. Jones brings that ludicrous energy. Plus, he's a bit stronger in the tackle. If you notice, Cannon, and I'm not knocking it, I like Cannon, and I'm seeing more and more to like of him. But he does have a tendency to do well to get in and make the interception and then not hang on to it. Whereas Jones is maybe a bit more robust in those sort of situations. But what a wonderful problem to have is for Wrexham. That's the point, isn't it? You know?
Maybe it's just horses for horses, depending on the opposition, isn't it, really?
Yeah, very true. Here's another conundrum for you then. Cryptic throwing in, Howard in the Cup or the Irish lad? That's McNicholas.
I'd like to see Howard play in the FA Cup due to his experience, and McNicholas play in the trophy game.
Bristol Street Motors.
Because I want Howard to get minutes playing just in case Okonkwo is injured for a substantial amount.
I think that's fair. I'd go with that as well.
Yeah. Me three. And I would have thought that might well have been the plan, even if Okonkwo had avoided the injury, I suspect. So I think Howard needs to get some time under his belt just in case, in case this happens, and now it's happened. But I wouldn't have been surprised by that. I mean, Howard's apologies for the unintentional pun. Very safe pair of hands. And Luke McNicholas has looked fabulous, hasn't he, when he's played? We better stop in a minute, but Kim says if only Cannon could finish better. And yeah, I sometimes think he gets in good positions. His finish is not quite spot on, but fair dues to the guy. This probably isn't the right day to say that. So yeah, I think we've done most of the things. Oh, somebody asked, this is a good last question, I think. Somebody asked, what was the difference between the first and the second half? Yeah, here we are. Adrian Battersby, you're the streaming king. Talk about a game of two halves. What was the difference between the first half and the second on the pitch, apart from the opposition getting a halftime rocket? Thoughts? I mean, if you want to have a moment to think, I felt I think they got a lot tighter to us and made it more difficult for us to pass out. We dominated the ball, didn't we, in the first half hour? I was quite shocked and concerned about how much the possession stats turned around. But I thought they got closer to us in the second half. They were better at blocking off the passing lanes, and they just got a bit higher up the pitch. I think the substitution made a difference. I mean, apart from the fact that Burrell comes on and scores with his first touch, but he's a centre back. I've always thought he's quite a decent centre back, and I thought they dealt better in the air in the second half as well. They had trouble from balls in the goal mouth, I thought, and just crosses in the first half. They weren't clearing them properly. We got them penned in quite a lot. That chance from the toes of throw, I mean, they're letting it bounce around the goal mouth. In the second half, they defended a bit higher up, I thought, and they looked better. Burrell looked better in combination with Anthony O'Connor than McDonald in the first half. So I think there were things like that. I also wouldn't underestimate the fact that they were getting totally outplayed, but were sort of given a soft goal, and that probably made them feel like, okay, we can do this. We're still in this. Yeah. I think at 2-0, I think it would have been harder to make a difference by resetting them, if I'm honest.
Their crowd that were definitely lifted from that goal before half time. That was the worst thing that could have happened to Wrexham, was that goal.
Yeah.
And you could when they come out in the second half, their fans are up for it, you know. And I know it's a bit of a cliche, but I do think the fans really are the 12th man at times. They'll just give you that little bit of boost, give you that little bit more confidence. I think that's what the Harrogate fans give their own players, and they got that equaliser early on, and they just went into cruise control. Really, we couldn't carve many chances out. It was just one of them. What did you think, Bill?
Yeah, I kind of feel like after they scored the second goal, that they pressed us a bit, and then I think once they realised they weren't necessarily going to break us down around the sort of 65th, 70th minute, both teams seemed to feel like they were quite happy to settle for a point and not put neither team seemed to want to put themselves into danger too much. But they controlled the midfield for a lot of the second half as well, and it's just one of those, wasn't it? A bit of higher energy. I thought their number 9 was really good in the second half. He gave Mendy some trouble on that side of the pitch, which, to be fair to Mendy, he did deal with him, but it's his weaker side, isn't it? So you can't expect him to be perfect coming in on his left foot from the right. Yeah, it's just like Luke Thorne has said in the comments earlier, you take the point and move on, don't you?
Exactly so.
Another quick one, another highest home attendance this season, which says a lot about the Wrexham effect, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that seems like a very good topic for Dragonheart, that one.
We got a couple of decent ones for Dragonheart, I reckon, this week. It's going to be a good one. So should we leave them wanting more? I reckon. Yeah. Right, everyone who interacts. So again?
They've had a bit of a flavour.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, look. There's 4 of us on the stream now. Nice one. Ooh, that's a peculiar angle, though.
She decided it's time for me to
go. Yeah, well, we're better all scarper then. Pixie's gone from my room, I'm afraid. Thank you all so much for your comments. Sorry we didn't have time to get around to them all, but we're on Zoom, so in 2 minutes' time, we were going to get cut off anyway. Frustrating, but, it's a point. We move on. Join us on Sunday for live coverage of the game. Join us on Thursday when the new Dragonheart will be revealed. And as ever, thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to interact with you all. And thanks for cheering us up and telling us to keep our chins up and accept that actually it's not a disaster. Thank you very much for managing to keep us in context. See you soon.
Adios.
Right, the stream's dead.